When you hear the term small guard, what players usually occupy your mental as you hear that? Most basketball fans would typically say names such as Allen Iverson, Tim Hardaway, and maybe even Isaiah Thomas of the Bad Boy Pistons. And yes, when we're speaking basketball, these are some short guys. However, once they step out the court and go into the real world, they're not that small. With all the legends I just named being over 6 feet tall, they are actually in the top 10% of the tallest men in the entire world. So with those guys struggling as much as they did compared to the competition in the rest of the league, you would think that anybody under that size would just be obliterated, wouldn't they? Well, let me introduce you to the man that defied all the odds. The man where every matchup he was David versus a sea of Goliaths. I'm talking about Houston's very own pocket rocket, aka Mr. Calvin Murphy. What's good, family? It's your favorite cousin CJ, aka the basketball historian. And because of popular demand, we will be doing Calvin Murphy. Don't worry, Walter Davis fans, we will be doing him next. Make sure to leave a comment down below of any players you would like to see. And with all that out the way, let's get right into the video. Calvin Murphy was a 5'9", 165-pound guard selected with the 18th overall pick in the 1970 NBA draft. He would then go on to have a 13-year-long career in which he would play over 1,000 games, and in that time he would build himself a respectable resume. Just taking a peek at his accolades, he made the All-Rookie team, a one-time All-Star. He was top 20 in points per game 3 times, top 20 in assists 5 times, top 20 in steals 5 times, and is currently number 83 in all-time scoring when it comes to the NBA. And while he never made any All-NBA teams, that was because there was only 2 teams until the 1988 NBA season where they introduced the 3rd team because of the talent in the league. So if there was a 3rd team back when he was playing, he would have definitely made the All-NBA 3rd team at least 3 to 4 times in his career. But enough about all this award talk. Let's talk about what he was actually doing on a year-by-year basis, what he was doing on the court, and how the numbers reflect that. But before we get into all that, I just want to say that if you're enjoying the video so far, please make sure to like, comment, and or subscribe. It really helps me and the channel, and it really makes me know that you guys like this content. So please make sure to do all that. Alright, thank you. In the totality of his career, he would average 17.9 points, 2.1 rebounds, and 4.4 assists while shooting 48% from the field. And just to let you know that he wasn't really a shooter, in his career 3-point shooting, he was 14% from behind the line. However, just because he was a bad 3-point shooter doesn't mean he wasn't a great mid-range shooter and an amazing slasher. While yes, he was undersized for his position and pretty much for the whole league in general, because of his short stature, he was able to be immensely quicker than everyone else on the basketball court, whether it was with the ball or without the ball. That combined with a good handle, a good mid-range shot, and that quickness just to float it up and in over taller defenders and over bigger guards that would probably want to contest his shots. All of those things coupled with the fact that he can make a simple pass, a nice dump off, a nice handoff, something to give the big man, something to give the teammates easy looks when he collapses the defenses with that quick first step of his. And don't you dare for a second think that you could just attack him on defense either, because while yes, he is short, he did average 1.5 steals throughout his entire career, even though the first 3 years of his career, steals wasn't even a stat that could be calculated. And speaking of his first years in the league, let's go back to his rookie year to see how he achieved that all-rookie team selection back in 1970. In Calvin's rookie year, he would average 24.6 minutes of game time, and in that time, he would put up 15.8 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists, while also shooting 45% from the field. Not only was that good enough to make him an all-rookie selection, he also finished top 4 in Rookie of the Year voting as well. So people definitely had their eye on him and said he was going to be a problem in these next couple of years if he continues to improve. But of course, when you're 5'9" playing professional basketball, people are still going to doubt you no matter if you even made it that way or if you had a very good rookie year. So once he started reaching his prime, that's when he started playing some of the most elite basketball that you can ever see out of someone of his stature. In his prime years from 1974 to 1981, he would put up a stat line of 20 points, 2.1 rebounds, 4.9 assists, 1.7 steals in 34 minutes of game time, shooting 49% from the field and 90% from the charity stripe. Now, all that stuff I've been talking about so far only been regular season. I know what you're thinking. What about his playoff success? Did he even have success in the playoffs? Was he even good in the playoffs, or was the team defense is too good and put him in a box? I'm gonna answer that last one right now. No, it wasn't. In Calvin Murphy's first ever playoff appearance, his team went 8 games, and in those 8 games he put up 24.5 points, 2.4 rebounds, 5.5 assists, while also shooting 46% from the field in those playoffs. And it wasn't any fluke stuff either. Over his career in the playoffs, in 51 games played, only playoffs, we're looking at 18.5 points, 1.5 rebounds, 4.2 assists, 1.5 steals, shooting 47% from the field in 32.5 minutes of game time. That's highly efficient for a 5'9" guard who is abysmal at what most people would think would be his greatest attribute, would be a 3-point shot. It was basically non-existent. He was only making 2s. He was not a pioneer of a long-range distance bomb threat. His game was very similar to the games around him. He was just very good and very effective at what he was able to do. And while he never won an NBA championship, he had the next best thing that you can ever have for in the NBA, which is making sure that you have a chance, just a fighting chance to compete for one. And the one season where it looked like they could win it all, that he could have that one ring to cement his legacy as one of the all-time greats, was back in 1980 to 81 NBA season. In the regular season, he will only get 26 minutes, putting up 16.7 points, 2.9 assists, 1 rebound, 1.5 steals, shooting 49% from the field, 96% from the free throw line. And while it was far from the greatest season, the rest of the roster didn't really do that good either, as the Houston Rockets that season would finish with a negative record of 40-42. However, it's not about how you make it to the playoffs, it's how you perform in the playoffs. And in the playoffs, they performed pretty well, as Calvin Murphy himself would put up 18 points, 3 assists, the same amount of rebounds, same amount of steals in 28 minutes, shooting that same 49% from the field and 96% from the charity. So if anything, you would say his production increased during the playoffs this season. And boy, was the Houston Rockets road to the finals far from easy, as in the first round they had to play Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and the Los Angeles Lakers, and miraculously they ended up getting the upset, beating them 2-1 in the first round, sending the Lakers home packing. So after handling business with Kareem and Magic, they had to face against the San Antonio Spurs, being led by one of the greatest prolific scorers in all of NBA history, George Gervin. And again, through all the adversity, they beat them in a 7-game series to send San Antonio home crying. I've also did a George Gervin video. If you're interested in that, link down in the description and at the end of this video. And then in the conference finals, they somehow faced the Kansas City Kings, who had the same record as them. However, they don't have any all-time great or any prolific scorer or any prolific defenses that I could have seen. Maybe they were just a really good team, I don't know. But they ended up sending them packing in 5 games, beating them 4-1 and clinching their ticket to the NBA Finals, where they would have to face the super team that was the 1981 Boston Celtics. And once they reached the Boston Celtics, that's where the fairy tale ended for the Houston Rockets, and especially for Calvin Murphy, as he will only put up 9.8 points and not even 1 assist for that entire 6-game series, and shooting an abysmal 39% from the field. However, that doesn't take away from his greatness, and we should all respect the fact that Calvin Murphy was even in the league, let alone averaging the things that he averaged, doing the things that he was able to do at the height in which he was able to do it. Alright family, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like, comment, and or subscribe if you haven't already. It's been your favorite cousin CJ, aka the basketball historian, and y'all boys stay safe out there, alright? Peace.
I draw it up and execute, I need a coaching job. mob. I'm the type to help my man score, I'm finna throw the lob. These niggas ain't touching paper, they just broken lost. In the 300, it bends the earth like I train with Todd.